All right, let me do introductions. First, my name is Jeff Anderson. I am one of the lawyers, along with Mike Bryant, for two courageous women, each of whom are holding pictures of themselves as children at the ages they were abused by a serial offender, Father Roney. Introductions. To my left is Lori Stoltz. Lori is has her mom to her left, and her mom's name is Joan Stilday, S-T-I-L-D-A-Y. Two L's. S-T-I-L-L-D-A-Y. And both from Willmar, Minnesota. Originally, of course. To my right is another courageous survivor who also filed suit against the Diocese of New Ulm because of what this man did, and her name is Kim Schmidt, S-C-H-M-I-T. And to her right is her mom, Jan Hazen, H-A-Z-E-N. Did I pronounce that right? And I stand with these courageous survivors and their moms because each of them made a decision this week to not only bring suit against the Diocese of New Ulm and the top officials that allowed this man to prey upon them and countless other boys and girls, but they made the decision to come forth and use their names and their faces and give voice to their experience. And they can tell you why they did that. But we applaud their courage in doing so, because what they want today, by filing this suit and going public, is to let other survivors know that they can get help under the new law, come forward anonymously, and protect kids in the future from the kinds of choices that top officials at the Diocese of New Ulm made. And so I'd like to begin with you, Lori. Step forward and just tell us your name and then why you're here.
Okay. My name is Lori Stoltz, and I originally filed as a Jane Doe, but I guess I decided I could be brave enough to use my name, and so it's been very rough for me to do this. I don't sleep well thinking about all this. It took years of depression and just shame and everything else, trying to figure out what was going on, and if anyone believes me or cares about what happened. But I'm so grateful for the recent Child Victim Act, and that was one of the reasons that I could decide to be a little more brave and try to help others, because I knew it wasn't just about me. I'd like to think that I can come forward and help other children who were abused like I was with Father Roney, and even my former people I grew up with in Willmar maybe will somehow see this and understand that this isn't easy, to feel so shamed.
My name is Kimberly Schmidt, and I'm decided to use my name because I think it's way overdue time for this to stop, and for anybody else out there that has been fall prey upon a priest or a church member to please come forward now, so that this can come to an end, that the diocese should not be shuffling these priests and hiding what they're doing to children, just to save face of the church. And it's just very shameful how they just want to hide it. And Lori said, children are innocent and they'll forget it and get over it. Like I thought I forgot it until I met Lori when I was a teenager, and in our girl talk in the evenings, and when Lori told me about what Father Roney had did to her at the age of 12, I was just like, wow, this happened to me when I was 7 and we're the same age. That meant he was still doing it in Willmar, in our area, for years after our family thought that it was over, that this had gotten help and things were better. Went right home and I told my mother. She asked how my day went and my ride home was, and I told her that Father Roney had approached me and, you know, and made me touch something, and so I had told it to my mom right away.
When I told my husband about it, and he went to the school officials and spoke to them there, and was told that, well, he felt that if something wasn't done, he was going to make it public. And so that got them excited to do something about it, and they had arranged for Father Roney to counsel with Father Garvey. It really angers me that there were so many people that covered up for this. It was just taboo, you know, don't bring it out, don't talk about it. It didn't happen, and it's very upsetting. And it's time everybody knows about it. Oh.
What the records reflect here, and what the investigation that has been done shows, multiple reports, like just made accounted here, were made that Roney had been molesting the girls and the boys. Garvey, the Pastor Garvey, the principal, and others, and the bishops became clearly aware that this guy was a serial molester, allowed him to continue in ministry, moved him to various parishes, and ultimately out of Willmar to Guatemala, where he continued in ministry in good standing until 2002. And what we have now learned is that at least, by our count now, at least 20 kids, boys and girls, were molested by this offender. Most of them after reports had been made in the 1960s. He was treated at the Servants of Paraclete and sent there by his bishop. He was treated by Ken Pierre at the consultation services here, and he continued to offend after treatments and after reports, but all the time that this was happening to these kids, it was the bishops from Lucker to Neinstedt who kept it secret, who refused to come clean about the history, and to this day has refused to reach out to the survivors that they know were harmed. Today we also demand that the Diocese of New Ulm release the list that they have of known offenders that they have assembled in 2002 that they have kept secret to this day. And it is our demand today that they immediately release that list so those in the community can know who the offenders are that are credibly accused, and those that are still alive, where they thus are. And so the parents and those in the community and the citizens can know how many other Roneys there are out there just like this. This man's dead, but how many other priests are credibly accused that have offended kids like this that only the bishop and only the top officials know and keep secret? So it's really an important exhortation to release these names, and do it now, because every bishop in Minnesota has refused to do that. Every bishop in Minnesota has refused to do that, even though there are bishops across the country that have made that decision. And these can, and this bishop can, and this bishop should, if he cares about protecting the kids instead of their reputation. So Lori's mom, Joan, did not even know that he had been reported by a devout Catholic family to Catholic officials that this was an offender and was being dealt with internally. At least you thought to your satisfaction,
Right.
but you had no way of knowing.
Right.
They just continued to recycle him.
Father Roney was our predator, but the diocese was the monster. The diocese is what protected this predator and allowed him to go from one church to another, from one community to another, to touch other children. You know, this man was God to us as we're 6 and 7 years old. I looked up and all I saw was that white collar, and I thought, wow, he's paying attention to me. I thought I was special because I was being paid attention to, but it was in a wrong way.